one question, or one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys that he had a question with. So a lot of his comps, there's one that's not sold yet that's in this neighborhood, but a lot of his comps are being pulled from Navy Point. This and Navy Point are not the same subdivision.
No.
So some of what he's pulling is coming from Navy Point, and he's using some of that data. What I was telling him before we got here is a lot of people don't know what to do when there's no comps in our area. This is a little bit of a smaller subdivision, a little bit niche. It's very different as far as the clientele and the houses in Navy Point. And so you can't just directly pull from a completely different neighborhood, though appraisers will pull some data from a mile away. They will also make adjustments based on the neighborhood. If you have a tough time making those adjustments, what I always tell people is, if there's no other recent renovation in this neighborhood, the way you handle that change in comps is, if there is a house here, you know, let's go back, let's say it was 5 years ago and it was a renovation, it sold for 100, and the same size house, very similar house that sold in Navy Point sold for 120, then that tells you that regardless of the time frame, the area, around 20% more in Navy Point, or maybe it sold for 110. That's the same way I would value something when you're in a neighborhood where all your house is up against a cemetery, right, with the cemetery in the backyard, or a big water tower right next to it, and the other houses in the neighborhood are not. Look at when this house sold before, and how did it differ 10 years ago from all the other houses that weren't against the cemetery or up against the water tower or in a different neighborhood. What was the difference in price then, percentage wise, and then apply that same percentage to today. So if now it's selling for 300, but we're 20% less, we're now at 240. You get that? So you're gonna and it's not an exact science, but it definitely is gonna give you a basis. And that ARV number, for those of you guys that are newer renovators, that ARV number is everything. You blow that. Now again, we're in a market, and I taught on this after 2007. I said the reason why you don't want to base numbers on the market going up is because the market going up and it being a really hot market, it's a very unhealthy market right now with way supply demand imbalance. But when you're in a market that's going up, it will cover up a lot of your mistakes, okay? A lot of your errors, a lot of your math mistakes, a lot of your doing wrong things and having to go through 3 contractors because you didn't vet them properly. All that stuff oftentimes gets fixed because the market is insane. But as soon as it normalizes or even drops a little bit, you're gonna get caught and get really, really hurt, really, really badly if you make poor decisions on your numbers. It's easy to get sloppy, is what I'm saying, when a market, and that's why over the last year or so I've said, the market's gonna start shifting here soon. You can't be sloppy with your numbers. It's not the time to take those risks, okay? But it raises a good point, and certainly determining value in an area where there's not a lot of nearby comps, specifically to this neighborhood, you have to make some of those necessary adjustments.